Good afternoon. Welcome to the news update on Independent Television. I am Iko Davis. The Nigerian Senate, during an emergency sitting, considered and passed the votes and proceedings of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, including provisions for the electronic transmission of election results. This follows the Senate's decision to rescind its earlier use of the word transfer, replacing it with electronic transmission. National Assembly correspondent Charity Tanko reports that the sitting turned rowdy as Senator Abaribe challenged the outcome of the vote, claiming there was a division.
The Senate emergency sitting was prompted by reactions and protests from Nigerians following the passage of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill for third reading. The bone of contention was the Senate's removal of the mandatory electronic transmission of election results in real time from the bill. At the emergency sitting on Tuesday, Senate President Godswill Akpabio commenced proceedings with the consideration of the votes and proceedings of the last plenary. On reaching page 1482, Senate Chief Whip, Senator Mohammed Mongono, raised the point of order, citing Orders 1B and 52(6) of the Senate Standing Rules to allow the Senate to rescind its earlier decision on the electoral bill.
The presiding officer shall electronically transmit the results from each polling unit to IREP portal, and such transmission shall be done after the prescribed form ECAA has been signed and stamped by the presiding officer and or countersigned by the candidates or polling agents where available at the polling unit, provided that if the electronic transmission of the result fails as a result of communication failure and it becomes impossible to transmit the result contained in form ECAA, signed and stamped by the presiding officer and or countersigned by the candidates or polling agents where available at the polling unit, the form ECAA shall, in such a case, be the primary source of violation and declaration of results.
Those in support of the motion as enunciated by Senator Mongono and seconded by Senator Pamoro say aye. And those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Following the voice vote, Senator Enyenaya Abaribe raised a point of order challenging the outcome, insisting there was a division in the chamber.
Mr. President, I claim a division. In respect of, we need to vote individually now.
From the outcome of the emergency sitting, it is clear that the Senate did not include the keywords mandatory and real time in the Electoral Act Amendment Bill. From Abuja, Charity Tanko, ITV News.
President Bola Tinubu has appointed Honorable Magaji Daru Aliyu as the Managing Director of the Sheda Science of Technology Complex, Abuja. The Sheda Science and Technology Complex, SHETSCO, is responsible for conducting research and development in technology and for operating a nuclear research facility. A statement by Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Mr. Bayo Onanuga, says President Tinubu also appointed Engineer Adeshayo Olusegun Michael as the Managing Director, CEO of the Board of Nigerian Electricity Management Services Agency, NESMA. Other board members of NESMA appointed by the President include Engineer Aliyu Abdulaziz as Executive Director, Technical Ikechi Clara Nwosu, Chairman, Southeast Zubair Abdurraf Idris, Member, Igba Elizabeth, Member North Central, and Sani Alhaji Shehu, Member Northeast. Other includes Adeyemi Adetunji, Member, Southwest Engineer Emmanuel Energy Nkpe, Member, South-South, and Engineer Charles Ogbona Asogwa, Southeast. The statement adds that President nominated Amina Gamawa, representing Bauchi, and Abdullahi Makhtar, representing Kaduna, as commissioners to the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission. The President has sent the two nominees to the Senate for confirmation. A 21-year-old dispatch officer of Debex Industry Limited in Okpila, David Ekes, has been arrested by the Edo State Police Command for faking his adoption for allegedly losing company and customer funds through online betting. The command's public relations officer ASP Eno Ikwaidem says the suspect is in police custody after investigations revealed that his reported kidnapping in Okpila was deliberately staged to conceal 1.3 million naira gambling loss. Crime correspondent Jolade Ocher reports.
ASP Eno Ikoyedem said the incident was first reported on January 27, 2026, when a missing person report was lodged at the Okpila Police Division concerning David Ekes, who was said to have gone missing while on duty along the Auchi-Okene Expressway. According to the report, the dispatch officer left his quarters on an unregistered motorcycle and failed to return, prompting fears of a possible kidnapping after the motorcycle was later found abandoned along the road. Following preliminary investigations and a search of surrounding bush paths, David Ekes resurfaced the next day and was taken to a hospital in Okpila, where he initially claimed he had been kidnapped by unidentified persons and forced to trek through a forest. However, ASP Enon revealed that discreet investigations uncovered the suspect had, between January 25th and 26th, lost a sum of 1,308,000 naira belonging to his company and a customer through online gambling on a betting platform.
The officers, upon further investigation, revealed that the said David Ekes, the period in which he got missing, engaged in an online visual sporty bets platform, which he squandered the said amount, 1,308,000 naira, money which belongs to the company in this gambling, and also traveled to Abuja, lodged in a hotel for days, where he stayed to stage his own kidnap. The suspect is currently undergoing investigation, and he has confessed to this crime.
ASP Eno reiterated the message of the Commissioner of Police, Edo State Command, Monday Agbonika, warning youth against excessive gambling and stressing that addiction often leads to desperation and criminal behavior. From the command headquarters in Benin, Jola Diojum, ITV News.
A heated exchange erupted on Tuesday during the 2026 budget defense of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. As a member of the House of Representatives, Awaji Inombek Ambiente, APC Rivers, openly challenged both the substance of the ministry's presentation and attempts by the committee's leadership to curtail debates. The confrontation occurred at a joint section of the Senate and House of Representatives Committee on Agriculture, Production Services and Rural Development, where the Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, Sabi Abdullahi, presented the ministry's 2026 budget proposal. Mr. Biante, reacting to the ministry's presentation, questioned the clarity, structure, and equity of the proposed programs, asking whether the documents complied with federal character principles and provided sufficient detail to ensure accountability. As he attempted to elaborate, the chairman of the House of Committee, Bello APC Kebbi, struck the gavel in an apparent effort to halt his contribution. Mr. Biante, however, refused to yield the floor, escalating the exchange. He accused the chairman of attempting to silence him for the second time during committee proceedings. Stakeholders from Makoko, Shogunro and Oko-Agbon communities in Lagos State have agreed with the state government to constitute a 10-man committee to conduct a self-enumeration of buildings affected by recent demolitions. The committee is expected to complete the enumeration exercise and submit its report within 2 weeks to the Lagos State House of Assembly Ad Hoc Committee on Rules and Business. The stakeholders also resolved that affected residents should refrain from rebuilding demolished structures until further notice. Formed part of a 5-count agreement on Tuesday. The resolutions formed part of the 5-point agreement reached on Tuesday during a stakeholders meeting held at the House of Assembly complex in Alausa, Ikeja. Other agreements included the regeneration of Makoko communities without displacing residents, as well as the commitment by the Special Advisor to the Governor on Geographic Information Service, Dr. Olajide Babatunde, to provide an orthophoto showing the demolition boundaries within 1 month. Speaking after separate meetings with representatives of the Makoko communities and state government officials, the majority leader of the House of Chairmen of the Ad Hoc Committee, Honorable Nohem Adams, urged all parties to abide by the resolutions. He stressed the need for transparency in self-enumeration process, noting that the community's data would be compared with government records. The spokesperson of the House of Representatives has stated that the National Assembly, NAS, will always prioritize national interest in its legislative duties. The spokesperson for the House of Representatives, Akin Rotimi Jr., gave the assurance on Tuesday. The commitment was highlighted during ongoing legislative activities aimed at fostering transparency and public confidence, which captured key areas including electoral reform harmonization. The House also constituted a conference committee to work with the Senate to harmonize the Electoral Act Amendment Bill. This process aims to refine voting procedures, including discussions around mandatory real-time electronic transmission of results, to ensure credible elections in 2027. The House is advancing an ambitious project to address structural issues within the Federation, focusing on devolution of powers and judicial reforms. Dangote Petroleum Refinery has reduced its premium motor spirits gantry price to 25 naira per litre, lowering the ex-depot rates from 799 naira to 774 naira per litre, in what industry analysts describe as strategic recalibration amid evolving market dynamics in 2026. The refinery communicated the price adjustment to marketers on Tuesday, as it also announced plans for a new business investment in Burundi. The refinery stated that the new PMS price takes immediate effect. In a notice issued by its Group Commercial Operations Department, Dangote Petroleum Refinery and Petrochemicals announced a change in the PMS gantry price from 799 naira per litre to 774 naira per litre. The refinery also informed marketers that its PMS lifting incentive had ended. Industry analysts say the closure of the bonus window alongside the price cuts signals a shift from volume-driven incentives to a more stable pricing regime as the refinery consolidates its domestic market price. The latest reduction comes against a backdrop of volatile PMS pricing in 2025, following the full deregulation of the downstream sector and the removal of petrol subsidies. Now talking sports, Chelsea missed the chance to move into the top 4 in Premier League after throwing away a 2-goal lead against Leeds United at Stamford Bridge. The host had a 2-goal cushion thanks to efforts either side of half-time from João Pedro and Cole Palmer. The Blues gifted Leeds a rout back into the match when Moses Caicedo brought down Jadon Bogle to allow Lucas Mecher to convert from the spot. The equalizer came with Josh, Malo Gusto and Robert failing to clear a ball over the top, allowing Noah Okafor to poke home an equalizer. In other games, Benjamin struck in the 96th minute to preserve Michael Carrick's unbeaten start as Manchester United caretaker head coach and deny West Ham United a crucial win in their battle to avoid relegation. Jacob Ramsey fired Newcastle United to a rare away win to give head coach Eddie, however, a timely boost and kept the pressure on Tottenham Thomas Frank while he came from behind to defeat 10-man Everton at Hill Dixon Stadium 2-1. And this is where we'll call it a wrap on the news updates on Independent Television. I am Iker Davis. Thank you for listening. Good afternoon.
ITV, certainly the best.